What's up, gang? On my way to work today. Skipped out from going to office last week. Needed to get something from UPS. Last time the delivery, I missed the delivery. I guess something that needed signature came on a Friday, so I had to wait till Monday. So knowing that, I just kind of hung out at home, made sure I got the delivery. Been working on some merch for our little jiu-jitsu brand. Started doing those digital to film, kind of heat press decals. It's working out pretty good, you know. Got some people buying it, got some interest. You know, like I tell people, I ain't trying to get rich off of it. Happy to break even take a small loss, just to get our name out, right? Have people see our brand, see our small man, build it up in Hawaii, right? Trying to get something put together. Waited a little too long, maybe. Not too long. Waited a little later than I probably should have to get something ready for when we're out in Vegas. Yeah, so less than a week now till I compete at Masters. It kind of flew by. You know, it was just about a year ago that flew out for my first Masters competition. You know, the previous year, I think I told a few people that I trained really hard previous year. That was our first full year training under Maya. So there's a lot of ground to cover, yeah. A lot of things that I hadn't known, maybe some things that I needed adjusted, you know, little gaps, not little gaps, big gaps in my jiu-jitsu that needed to get addressed. So now that I had a year under my belt, actually almost 2 years now, under Maya. This past year was less about trying to make huge gains and more about filling up the little gaps in my game that needed polishing up. Yeah, I learned a lot from last year's competition, right? So I got lucky. You know, the first match, the other guy I could tell he wasn't as serious a competitor. Maybe the school he trains at, it's, you know, not comp focused. So he was a nice guy, you know, not saying that he was drunk. He was a nice guy. I got the win, right? Pretty lucky. Second guy I went against, he was more comp ready, right? The style that he played was definitely a comp style. When we opened up, I think we got into a little scramble. He got close to a pass, so the ref gave him an advantage. Of course, he was a top player. I was a guard player, so I was playing my close guard. I kept trying to attack. You know, I was just trying to do single focus stuff, right? I wasn't setting stuff up. So, of course, he was easily able to block it, right? So, unfortunately, I had Lika in my corner, kind of counting the time down for me, saying, come on, let's go, let's go. He didn't say it that way, but he kind of kept stressing the sense of urgency that, you know, clock was running down, you know, got to make your move. So I had to open up my guard, right? So this year, the mindset is if I get into close guard, again, depending on the situation, right? If I'm up and the guy's trying to stall in close guard, whatever, I'm up. But if it's even or if I'm down, try 1 or 2 things in close guard, doesn't work, boom, open guard, collar sleeve, start attacking from there, play aggressive style. I kind of did that with Ryan last night. So not that I was questioning my training, because last year, like I said, put in a huge amount of training, like really pushed hard for pretty much the entire year. This year was a little different, right? Kind of towards the ending, the last 8 weeks, I started to push a little harder. I wasn't really pushing hard. I was adding stuff, trying to do different things. You know, Cart and I were working on stuff. Cart was kind of helping to clean some of my stuff up, yeah. So I would say I had doubts, but I was just kind of trying to feel where I was at, right? So last night at the comp class, Ryan, he's pretty much the only guy that's close to my age, but I mean, he's still in his 50s, right? Younger guy. He's about my size, about my weight. So we had I think it was a 3-minute roll. I felt good. My guard was on point. He kind of even told me he had a hard time doing anything. So it was kind of a standoff. So it's good. I mean, if I can get a standoff against someone like Ryan, I feel good that, you know, I'll have a good shot when I go to Masters, yeah. Competing against people my own age and my size, yeah. So I'm getting excited. Again, just like I said last year, when people asked, were you nervous? I trained as hard as I could. Got my jiu-jitsu where I needed to, where as high a level as I thought it could be. And now it's just time to just put it out there and show people what I got, right? So same kind of mindset, same approach, not changing anything, you know, except slight adjustment in the game. Okay, I gotta come home to pick up my keys, so I'm gonna cut right here. All right, guys, I'm back. Got my ID. So back to the comp in Vegas, right? So last year there were 3 people in my bracket. This year I got 5. Yeah. So pretty stoked about that. Bracket's growing. There's no repeat competitors, so it's interesting. There's nobody from last year except myself that entered, so everyone's brand new. I watched a couple of the guys had competed in the past, so they had some matches on Flow Grappling that I got to watch a little bit. I don't know, it's good and bad, right? I can watch and I can have a general idea, but I like jiu-jitsu, right? I think it's important that you have a game, that you know what you're playing, that you're not relying heavily on scouting and some of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think in general, like at my age, most guys are wanting to stay on top, wanting to attack from the top, trying to look for takedowns. So they're not, you know, they're not gonna pull guard for the most part. That's pretty much a generalization. I'm sure I'll meet up some guys that want to play guard. I think I feel comfortable both ways. Of course, I've been a guard player pretty much my whole life, so my whole career. So I like being on my back, fighting from my back. Feel comfortable there. So I get to pull guard and fight from there. Fantastic. If the guy pulls guard on me, all right, I have some things that we've been working on. So Cart's been helping me a lot with some of the passes and some of the strategies to use, yeah, in those positions. If anything, you know, I'll have that ready when needed. So, all right, so that's for my comp. You know, for our small man, sessions are gaining in popularity. I think we had the biggest one a couple weeks back. We had 9 kids, and a couple of the original kids weren't even coming. So, I mean, it's a good problem to have. People want to come, but I do have to kind of limit the size. Yeah, like when it was 4, it wasn't bad, but now that it's like 9, I mean, potentially we could have double digits tomorrow. So one of Mike's sister's friends that, you know, we met through jiu-jitsu, she has a kid that's, I think she must be like, I think he's 9. So she's a, you know, Instagram friend. So, you know, we post stuff that we're doing. So she said she wanted to come by. One of our other friends from Trickster, his son competes too. He's a high-level competitor, so he's good. So saying he might want to come too. So we could have as much as 11 people. So, and the 2 other kids that want to come, I may have to tell them, you know, you guys kind of gotta wait because it's kind of full now. So we'll run this session, and then the good thing is, you know, we'll take a break next Sunday because we'll be in Vegas, competing, watching jiu-jitsu. We're gonna go to watch the Craig Jones Invitational, so that should be pretty fun. We're gonna watch that, some high-level jiu-jitsu. We're just gonna nerd out on jiu-jitsu from next Thursday. So it's gonna be a fun week, yeah. So on the high note, right? Cart's kind of working his way and getting his feet in there at that new job he's at. Seems pretty easy for him, you know. The guy's pretty chill. Over there. And he starts work at 9:30. A couple days they let him leave early, so I'm thinking he rides it out to the end of the year. Everything's settled. It looks good. Okay, start setting my retirement date. Yeah, start finalizing some of the dates. Start getting stuff lined up. Pension, Social Security benefits, stuff like that, right? So I'm pretty excited. really excited for that. That's getting closer and closer. Can spend more time with, Oz and Caleb and Emmy and Mom. Be available, a lot more available during those times. Interestingly, I think it was a couple weeks ago, I was talking to Mike, and Mike was talking about possibly a remote possibility that they move the kids to a school that's closer to our side. Because Mike now is probably going to be permanent over at Waihawa. So they're looking at a school in Mililani, and I said, hey, I can certainly help Mililani. Even if they're going to school at Poly, I don't have an issue helping them, when needed, when things pop up. And I know they wouldn't try to take advantage, say like, oh, every this day of the week can you do this, right? I know they won't do that, because they're not going to try to take advantage of the help, right? So definitely looking forward to retirement. I was telling somebody the other day, I've worked full time pretty much 45 years. Never, with God's grace, never been out of work. I've always went from one job to another job. So feel definitely blessed that I've been able to have jobs that are, able to help support my family, lifestyle. Definitely a blessing. Yeah, I've been blessed. A lot of people take for granted what they have, and know that a lot of times, like they say, seeing is believing, but with faith and religion and God, you can't see God. He's there, but he's not, right? So it's that belief and faith. It's not like, oh, let me see something first before I believe. You gotta believe, right? It's just a religion. It's the faith. It's what you're taught, what you learn, and you work through those types of things. So, it's still rough, right? My dad's not around. I think about him a lot. It's difficult, right? So even one of the IG influencers, Royce Get It, right? He's a nice guy, right? And, he's been cool. We've had conversations through Instagram in the past, in good times, right? And I think he's been challenged with his mom having some health issues, and he wasn't sure what to do, life support, care home, this and that. So I sent him kind of a long message about what I went through and what the thoughts were and what perspectives, right? So he reached out and said, appreciated me giving him that insight, right? So he did say, he wants his mom to be in heaven. So I think he knows what the decision is. It's never easy. It's never easy to just say, oh, let's just cut the life support and let them go. But anybody who truly believes in God and has faith in heaven and the afterlife, understand that clinging to a body that's being supported by a machine, that's not how anyone would want to live. It's really not. Yeah, it's really not. I have a friend that said his mom just said, whatever it takes, just keep me alive. It's like, it's each person's own personal wish on what they want to do when the end comes. But you can't fault them, you can't criticize them. Everybody makes their own decisions. So it's difficult for my friend to see his mom in that condition. But there's a part, I guess you're happy that you're kind of with them. They're not, you're not conversing with them. There's no interaction. I mean, maybe they'll look, maybe they'll try to smile, but they're not talking to you, right? It's hard, right? There's no covering. So that is kind of challenging, right? So yeah, life is full circle, right? And of course, I have a couple friends that they're pregnant. It's a circle of life. I was talking to my friend from work, Todd, how one day he went to a first birthday party and the next day he went to a funeral, right? So as you age, I mean, unfortunately, funerals become more, prevalent. It's something that you attend more than hangouts and cruises and stuff, right? But it's just one of those things, right? So I'm gonna go have a PT session. So one of the kids' moms has a business where she does recovery, weight loss, a lot of things, health related things. So it's pretty interesting. It's kind of like a TENS, but where it has that electric pulses, but it's like on steroids. So I did one session. It helped. I believe it helped. So might as well just try to go through it. And she's been nice enough to compass the sessions. I think she does want to help Carter. So that would be. Hopefully he can find time to do it. Want his shoulder to get as strong as possible, right? So he can use, do his jiu-jitsu. But I noticed a lot of black belts, high-level guys have lingering injuries that just don't go away, and they've adjusted their jiu-jitsu in a way that they play through it, right? So jiu-jitsu is definitely a rigorous sport, and minor, major, lingering injuries, they're just part of the game. You just need to figure out how to work through them, understanding that recovery is super important, right? So I spend a lot of time doing recovery. Selfishly, I'm researching jacuzzi bathtubs, right? I think the family could benefit from it. Interestingly, it's not as expensive as I thought it would be. I mean, it's still not cheap, right? It's not free. I don't know what the install costs are, but it looks like you can get it for under $2,000, the tub itself. Maybe throw in another grand for install. $3,000? It's not bad. The amount of time I spend in that tub, I mean, I soak in the tub pretty much every night. Some nights I take a bath later, so it's harder to soak, but pretty much every night I go through that process. I read that it helps with lactic acid, inflammation. Well, inflammation is more with the cold plunge. There's a lot of benefits to it, so just trying to find out a contractor who would do it for me. I know there's the install of the bathtub, but there's also electrical work too. Yes, I got to be kind of careful about how I get that going, how I set that up, right? So still researching, still early days. I want to try to probably do it before I retire, so I don't have that extra out-of-pocket cost. We'll see. Just like I told my mom, I had this conversation with my mom, right? They're not poor, right? My dad and mom were wise, and they saved a lot of money, so they're in a decent position to do things right. And I told my mom the other day when we were riding home, I said, look, Mom, everything that you have now, do whatever you want with it. I said, I don't want anything from you. Like, if you gave $100,000 to the church, I'd be fine with it. I'd be happy. Right? I want you to do whatever you want to do with the money, whatever it might be. Right? Don't think, oh, I want to save it and give it to this person or that person. No, I want you to spend it all. Right? I want you to use all of it and enjoy and comfort and whatever you see fit to do with it. It's your money. You earned it. You built up that. Just do whatever you feel like it. Whatever you feel. That's the mindset, right? So even something similar, right? Even I know Pa's probably not going to be thrilled that I'm looking at a jacuzzi, but hey, we worked hard. We've saved up a fair amount of money. Yeah, we're not uber rich where we can just spend frivolously and live a lavish lifestyle, but we've never lived a lavish lifestyle, right? We have small comforts and some small things that we enjoy doing. We didn't travel this year. Pa's traveled to the Philippines, but maybe we don't travel this year. Maybe we spend, we lump it into next year's travel. We'll see what happens with our Europe trip. Yeah. So just trying to figure out what the next travel destination would be. Hopefully, Cart can build a vacation and save his money, right? So he can travel with us too. I did kind of lay out some bills for Cart to start in September. I wanted to take over like his own phone bill, pay us $100 a month for some small food contribution, $100 a month for insurance, right? Just kind of get used to it. YouTube, Spotify, it's kind of it. I think it kind of came out to like $250, $260, not a huge amount, right? So it's a small amount, and the money that he pays us, I just set it aside. I still have probably $500-600 that he gave us from his previous jobs, right? I don't spend it, and I don't need to spend his money now. want to save it for him. So one day when he does make a big purchase, you know, I can just give it to him, say, hey, look, this is the money that you saved. So, you know, I'm gonna add it to buy a new car, whatever you somehow fortunate enough to buy a house, apartment, condo, whatever, you know, have that money for him. So, all right, guys, appreciate you guys listening to this rant. Got this beautiful sky today. Clouds are out there. Take a little video with my Meta. I'm gonna be trying to use my Meta a little bit more when we're out in Vegas. I'm sure we're gonna see some jiu-jitsu stars, some celebrities, so we can fanboy out over there, take some pictures, you know, stand next to the elite of jiu-jitsu. That's what I love about Jiu-Jitsu Con. Those guys, they're not walking around with bodyguards and acting like they're better than everyone else. I mean, they're their own, technically their own bodyguards, right? That level. But they're cool, they're chill. We never met anybody that just said, hey, fuck off, right? So, awesome stuff. Alright, guys. Catch you later.